In this video, we are going to solve the 2004 AP Calculus AB FRQ Form B question number 1. So it says, let R be the region enclosed by the graph of y equals the root of x minus 1, the vertical line x equals 10, and the x-axis. Find the area of R. Okay, so we should probably sketch this so we get a good idea of what it looks like. If you plug in 0, it doesn't exist, right? Because you get -1, root of -1 is imaginary. So when you do this, let's start with 1, because that's where it would equal 0. So here's 1. Now let's go to 10. Root quantity 10 minus 1 is 9. The root of 9 is 3. Okay, so these points are important. So right now we have 1, 0 and 10, 3. 10, 3. And 1, 0 is this coordinate right there. And it wants to call this region R. So when we find the area is going to equal from 1 to 10 the root of x minus 1 dx. And now this is a calculator question, so you could type it in, but if you did it by hand, you would get x minus 1 raised to the 3/2 to the 2/3, and now we would plug in the 110. So I'll do my work up here. So now I'm going to get 2/3, 10 minus 1 raised to the 3/2. 1 minus 1 raised to the 3/2. That's good, because that's 0. So now we're going to get equals. I should put the equals there and the equals here. 2/3. This is going to be 9 minus 0 raised to 3/2, and that's still to 3/2. So now I'm going to get 2/3. Another way of writing 9 is 3 squared raised to 3/2. That 0 is arbitrary. We don't need it. So now these are going to cross out. So 3 to the 3rd is 27. 27 times 2 is 54. Divided by 3 is 18. So that's our area. And I think using a calculator would have saved us a lot more time. So part B. It says find the volume of the solid when R is revolved around the horizontal line y equals 3. Okay. So I'm just redrawing this so we have a sketch. So this is 1, 0. And that's 10. This is 10, 3. So it wants it reflected around this line over here. So when you do that, it's going to look like this more or less. Okay, so it's definitely going to be a washer. So if you do outer and the inner, makes that washer shape. So volume is going to equal pi, the integral 1 to 10. Now let's change color so we can look at our radiuses. So if you do your outer is going to be this. So how big is that? It's outer squared, right? So outer squared would be 3 squared minus, let's switch colors. It's a good color, red. The inner would be this distance right here. So how big is that? That's going to be 3 minus the root of x minus 1 squared dx. Okay, now since this is a calculator question, I would just input it. There's no way you should do this by hand, not unless if it was a non-calculator question. because it would just take too much time. You'd have to square this whole thing. You'd get 9 minus 6 root of x minus 1 plus x minus 1. Then you would have to deal with the 9, then integrate. I just think it's going to take you 15 minutes alone to just do that. So your answer would be 135 pi over 2, or approximately 212.058 units cubed, because it is volume, units cubed. Okay, part C says find the volume of the solid generated when R is revolved around the vertical line x equals 10. Okay, I'm going to zoom out so I have a little bit more room to work. So when you do this, you have the same exact shape, but we are now rotating it over this. So it's going to make a disk because it's revolved around an axis that's actually touching and there's no separation. So now we're going to have to switch all boundaries. We're going to have to solve for this in terms of x. So y equals root x minus 1. So y squared equals x minus 1, or x equals y squared plus 1. And now when you look over here, we already had these points 10, 3 and 1, 0. So now when we integrate, we're going to do from here. Let me switch colors. Let me use that nice green. So we're going to do from here, which is a height of 0, and from here, which is a height of 3. So 0 to 3. You're still going to need the pi. And this is volume. Equals, now you're going to do outer minus inner. So the outer is going to be 10 squared, because we don't want the entire area. We want only this little piece, minus this area over here, which is 10 minus this function over here, y squared plus 1, need a parentheses squared, dy. And now I would use the graphing calculator again. I would not solve this by hand. And after you use a graphing calculator, you should get 648 pi over 5, which is approximately 407.150 units cubed. I hope this video helped.